Picture this, it's 1997. While kids are watching Pokemon and Power Rangers, HBO drops an animated series so dark, so violent, and so mature that parents across America are frantically checking their cable boxes. This wasn't your Saturday morning cartoon. This was something else entirely. Something that would make Batman, the animated series, look like Sesame Street. This was Spawn. But here's the thing nobody talks about anymore. This show did something that no other animated series had done before. It broke a rule so fundamental that even today, studios are scared to try it again. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Spawn isn't just forgotten. It was deliberately buried. Let me tell you about a man named Al Simmons. Not just any man. A highly trained government assassin who could take down targets that other soldiers wouldn't even dream of approaching. He was the best of the best, a real-life boogeyman for America's enemies. But Al had one problem. He trusted the wrong people. His own boss, Jason Wynn, decided Al knew too much. So what did Wynn do? He had Al burned alive during a mission. Yeah, you heard that right. Burned alive by his own team. But death wasn't the end for Al Simmons. Oh no, it was just the beginning of something much, much worse. You see, Al made a deal. When you're burning in the flames and facing eternal darkness, sometimes you make choices you wouldn't normally make. The devil himself, well, actually a demon named Malebolgia, offered Al a deal. Come back to Earth, see your wife Wanda one more time, and all you have to do is lead my army when the time comes. Now I've got to ask you something. Would you take that deal? Really think about it. You're dead, you're suffering, and someone offers you a chance to see the person you love most in the world one more time? Would you shake hands with evil itself? Al said yes, and that's where everything went wrong. He came back 5 years later, not the few days he thought it would be, looking like a burnt piece of beef jerky, wearing the most incredible cape. She'd remarried his best friend and had a daughter. His face looked like someone had played tic-tac-toe with a blowtorch. His new job? Leading Hell's army to destroy heaven and earth. When Todd McFarlane created Spawn in 1992, comics were already getting darker. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected what would happen when HBO picked it up for television in 1997. This wasn't going to be another X-Men or Spider-Man cartoon. This was going to be something adults would watch at midnight with the lights off. The show premiered on May 16, 1997, and from the first episode, it was clear. This wasn't playing by anyone's rules. Characters didn't just get punched, they got dismembered. Heroes didn't always win. Sometimes they lost everything. And the good guys? Well, sometimes there weren't any good guys at all. Here's a fun fact that'll blow your mind. Keith David, who voiced Spawn, actually recorded many of his lines separately from the other actors. Why? Because the producers wanted his voice to sound truly isolated and alone. That's the level of detail we're talking about here.
They all pick a place to call home. In most instances, those places have a hidden power. For this warrior, the alleys are no different.
They weren't just making a cartoon. They were crafting a piece of art that would haunt your dreams. Here's where things get really interesting, and I'm about to share something that most Spawn fans don't even know. The show's creator, Todd McFarlane, had a secret rule for the series that he's only mentioned in a handful of interviews. Spawn could never speak more than 50 words per episode in the first season. 50 words. Can you imagine? The main character of your show can barely talk. But here's the genius part. It worked. By limiting Spawn's dialogue, they forced the animation, the music, and the atmosphere to tell the story. It made every word Spawn said feel important, powerful, like it really meant something. And speaking of things nobody talks about anymore, you know what's funny? The show's rating system was so intense that HBO had to create new warning labels just for Spawn. They literally had to invent new ways to tell parents, hey, seriously, don't let your kids watch this. I mean, when you're making HBO create new warning labels, you know you're doing something different. All right, conspiracy theory time. Fans have been arguing about this for over 20 years, and I'm finally going to lay it out for you. Remember Chapel, the guy who actually killed Al Simmons on Wynn's orders? Here's the theory. Chapel was supposed to become the anti-Spawn. Think about it. In the comics, Chapel eventually becomes infected with something that gives him similar powers to Spawn, but from a different source. The animated series was setting this up perfectly. Every time Chapel appeared, there were subtle hints. The way shadows moved around him, the strange purple glow in certain scenes, even the specific words he used when talking about hell. The theory goes that Season 4, which never happened, would have revealed Chapel as a champion of heaven, twisted and corrupted just like Spawn, but fighting on the opposite side. Two former partners, both dead, both brought back, both slaves to cosmic forces they don't understand. It would have been the ultimate showdown. But we never got to see it. Why? Well, that brings us to the real tragedy of this story. By the end of Season 3, Spawn was doing something unprecedented. It had won an Emmy Award, yeah, an Emmy, for Outstanding Animation Program. It was pulling in viewers that HBO hadn't expected. Critics were calling it the future of adult animation. So why did it end? Here's the brutal truth. It was too successful at being what it was supposed to be. HBO got nervous. Parents' groups were complaining. Advertisers were uncomfortable. The show that was supposed to push boundaries had pushed them too far. But there's another reason, one that Todd McFarlane himself has hinted at but never fully explained. The show was getting too close to certain religious themes that made network executives very, very nervous. We're talking about a show where heaven's angels were just as corrupt as hell's demons, where God and Satan were portrayed as CEOs of competing corporations, rather than ultimate good versus ultimate evil. One episode in particular, which was written but never produced, allegedly showed that the entire war between heaven and hell was just a game, and humans were just pawns for entertainment. That's when HBO pulled the plug. Okay, quick break for something hilarious that happened during production. So apparently, during the recording of Season 2, Michael Jai White, who played Al Simmons in flashbacks, accidentally broke a studio microphone by speaking too intensely during a death scene. The sound engineer supposedly said, "Man, you literally killed our equipment." The joke became so popular among the crew that they started calling intense recording sessions pulling a Simmons. I mean, when you're so hardcore that you're breaking recording equipment with your voice, you know you're in a different league. Let's get serious again for a minute. Spawn dealt with themes that animation, even adult animation, still struggles with today. We're talking about racism. Al Simmons was one of the first black animated protagonists in a mature series. Government corruption, religious hypocrisy, child abuse, and the nature of free will itself. There's an episode where Spawn saves a young girl from her abusive father. But here's the twist. He doesn't just beat up the dad and call it a day. The show explores what happens after the psychological damage, the system that failed her, the reality that sometimes saving someone's body doesn't save their soul. This wasn't just dark for the sake of being dark. This was a show holding up a mirror to real problems and asking, what if someone with supernatural powers tried to fix this? Would it even work? Here's what kills me. Spawn walked so that shows like Castlevania, Invincible, and even parts of Love, Death and Robots could run. Every single mature animated series you see on streaming platforms today owes something to Spawn. It proved that animation wasn't just for kids. It proved that you could tell complex, dark, philosophical stories in animated form and adults would watch. But nobody talks about it. It's like the entire industry made a collective decision to pretend Spawn never happened. You won't see it on Best Animated Shows lists. You won't hear modern creators citing it as an influence, even when the influence is obvious. It's been memory-holed in a way that's actually kind of impressive. Want to know a crazy fact? The complete series wasn't even available legally for almost a decade. HBO seemed content to let it disappear into obscurity. It's only thanks to dedicated fans and eventual DVD releases that anyone can even watch it today. So here we are, at the end of our journey through hell and back. Al Simmons made a deal with the devil and lost everything. He got power beyond imagination, but became a slave. He returned to Earth, but couldn't return to his life. He fought for justice, but was destined to lead an army of darkness. Was it worth it? The show never really answers that question, and maybe that's the point. Every character in Spawn makes deals, compromises, choices that seem right at the time but lead to damnation. Wynn makes deals for power. Chappell makes deals for money. Even the so-called heroes make deals that cost them their souls. If this show taught us anything, it's this. Whatever you do in life, whatever desperate situation you find yourself in, don't make a deal with the devil. It never ends well. Trust me, if a mysterious figure offers you everything you want in exchange for a small favor to be determined later, run fast, run far, and don't look back. Your mission, should you choose to accept it. If you made it this far, you're one of the real ones. You've learned about a piece of animation history that most people have forgotten or never knew existed. So here's what I need you to do. Hit that subscribe button. Need to keep these conversations alive. These shows, these pieces of art that pushed boundaries and asked difficult questions, they matter. They're part of our cultural DNA, even if we've forgotten them. Share this video with someone who thinks animation is just for kids. Blow their mind. Show them what they missed. And if you're feeling really brave, go watch Spawn, the whole series. Late at night, lights off, the way it was meant to be watched. But don't say I didn't warn you. Once you see what animation can really do when it's unleashed, you can't unsee it. Before you go, remember this quote from the show itself, spoken by Cagliostro, Spawn's mentor. The darkness that consumes us comes not from hell or heaven, but from the choices we make when we think no one is watching. Think about that. Every choice, every compromise, every little deal we make, they all add up, they all matter, they all lead somewhere. Choose wisely, because in the end, we all have to face what we've become. And unlike Simmons, we don't get a second chance. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you dare to keep exploring the shadows of animation history,